and I got it done. We then did the living wage. Second, we now have a plan where I forced the real estate community to put $90 million into a fund for 40,000 affordable housing units in the city of Chicago. I don't know of a lot of people in the best income bracket that live in affordable housing. And maybe you do, but I don't. I don't know of a lot of people in the top economic bracket who work at the minimum wage, but I'm going to tell you this, from now on in the city of Chicago, work's going to pay. We're going to raise the minimum wage to $13. Third, all the corporations used to get a 40% reduction for their luxury skyboxes at our sporting facilities. Working with City Council, we closed that loophole. Those are 3 examples where I told folks, whether it's minimum wage, affordable housing, or tax deductions for corporations, that policy is not in the interest of the city of Chicago, and that's the work plan. Finally, I'll add this. We have a number of systems in our public transportation system. The first system I picked to rebuild, putting 2,000 people on work build, was Red Line South. We working with the Urban League, got 200 people from the community working on that project, who finally got into the trades. And we have over 60% of the contracts went to minority and women-owned businesses to build the Red Line. And that became the standard for all of CTA. And with the water investments we're making, we opened up all the building trades to apprentices and made sure that the building trades reflect all parts of the city of Chicago.
So that has to really anger you when they call you mayor 1%, they say you don't care.
I know what my record is, and I know who I'm helping, and I'm proud of not only being in Congress, I'm proud of the work we did as mayor, proud of serving both President Clinton and Obama and seeing their agenda through, and I know why I fight for progressive policies that make a difference in people's lives, and I know what I've done, from a minimum wage to affordable housing, to making sure we're investing in our communities.
There's a woman standing over there who's giving me the eye, she wants to get involved here.
I got a standing question to the audience that you can sit on and eat breakfast. But I'm going to combine 2 that are similar to what you were just talking about. One young lady over here wants to know what you can do to restore the balance that the people of Chicago will feel like, we got what you got. And so along with that is another question, more specific. It's reported that it costs $55 million to build Maggie Daley Park and $20 million with the new ice rink. I realize a lot of the money was donated. What have you done to get money donated to the south and west sides? All right, y'all like the answer? There's an answer to it. I would just like the question.
We're rebuilding 325 playgrounds in every part of the city of Chicago. So every part. Second, the single biggest economic impact, getting the presidential library in the city of Chicago. Wait a second. I believe concise, clear, consistent leadership. If you know another $500 to $600 million investment that will create thousands of pounds and thousands of jobs either on the south side or west side, I have an inbox. Get it to me. I'll hustle and get it. And I have been clear and concise from day one that it can be on the south side, it can be on the west side, but it cannot be on the upper west side of Manhattan. And that job, and the other thing is, not far from here, working with Alderman Michelle Harris. I thought Michelle was right. Where's Michelle? There she is. We announced 4 months ago, the first time ever, Gately Park, we're going to build an indoor track facility for the kids of the city of Chicago so they can compete for the scholarships for track and field and go to college. That has been a project discussed for 30 years. We got the money. We put the money up at our local level. We got state money, building that park, and raising the resources to do it.
All right, I'm not cutting you off, but I do have 6 honor students here from Chicago State University. And as soon as we get through your panel at least one time, we want you to meet each of them and hear their assessment of the best tweet that they are recording. #CSU votes. So go on and continue with the panel and get ready for our honor.
Charles Preston is a student here at Chicago State University. He has a question for you, Mayor.
A recent ACLU report found that CPD committed 240,000 stops that did not result in arrest, stop and frisk. This is 4 times the rate of New York City. hyper surveillance and targeting of Black Chicago's by security.
Thank you for that question. It's an important question. Our police put their lives on the line every day, just like my uncle. Let me just finish. This is important. Hey, it's a very important question. My uncle was a police officer in Chicago. They put their lives on the line every day. The most important part of policing is community policing, building trust every day. 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And we have a policy that racial profiling is not accepted in the city of Chicago, not practiced by our police department. Can't be. It doesn't fight crime. Essential to that effort is, as I said, building trust, which is why I boosted community policing. It's why we made sure we're going to start now a pilot on the body cams. So there's building trust. In addition to that, I'll give you one anecdote. I met a mother when we were cutting a ribbon at one of the playgrounds in Englewood. She said because the officers on the bike, she can trust now her kids to go to the playground. We doubled the amount of officers on bikes outside of downtown because that's part of building trust. Officers practicing community policing, commanders practicing community policing, the superintendent, the first deputy practicing community policing is building trust. You need a community to trust and work with the law enforcement community to bring safety to every part of the city. You don't want to militarize the police. It's a civilian force, and part of that means working together. I'll give you an example. Fred Waller in the 6th District. Great commander. He does night out parks where he does a camp with the kids out in the evening so they can watch nature and be part of that. Over in the 9th District, they have a league between police officers and kids, a basketball league. That is all about building trust between the police community and the community they're part of. And as I said,
Mayor, can I ask something? Can I follow up? Because that's what they want me to do with you. But that's a long thing. I know, maybe, but I wanted to ask, did you call when you read those statistics about stop and frisk, was there a meeting between you and Superintendent McCarthy about
and here's the thing, a year and a half ago, I had Gary McCarthy, Al Wisely, the first deputy, revise the rules and make sure that they're constantly looking at and investigating how we can do a better job, because you cannot do the safety you need if there's no trust between the community.
Do you hold him accountable for that, those stats?
I hold myself, as well as him, as well as Al Weiser, as well as the leadership of the police department, to making sure that community policing, which is essential for the trust, is built every day. And gotta be honest, there are good days and bad days to that level. There's no doubt about it.
Kim, I'm sorry, you haven't met these people. Dr. Kim Delaney, she's professor of African American Studies here at CSU. Your question for the mayor.
Okay, I'm going to stay on that a little bit on what you were talking about. I think those examples you gave of things that are going on in the community, programs and things, that's really important, the things you're talking about. One example of one of those things that is happening is over at St. Sabina with Bob Slater, who's a dear friend of mine. He has a program where police officers play basketball with gang members and all of that. So my question is, and so all of that you're talking about in this community, forging these relationships, is very important. My question is there money that can be put into those programs to replicate that, money available to replicate those programs in other neighborhoods where there's high violence?
There's not violence.
There's high.
Oh, I thought you said violence. No, okay. Dr. Lane, great question. So, I went to, it's like Boo from, Kill a Mockingbird, man, right back there. We have this thing called Windy City Hoops. At 11 Park District facilities throughout the city of Chicago, Isaiah Thomas and I set it up, actually raised private money, about $500,000 from the private sector. And it's Friday and Saturday night, open to midnight or 11 o'clock. in 11 different communities, or 11 different communities, 11 different park district facilities. It has both coaches, timekeepers, police officers, so kids have a safe place to go playing basketball at park district facility with adults there and police officers, that kind of activity. I'll give you one at Columbus Park. Do we have time for a story or no?
Well, not too long. Go ahead, try it.
All right, I met a young man who was, that first night we opened it up. Unbelievable young man who was trying to just play basketball. We were talking. We kept talking for about 45 minutes. So I'm going home to go to Sabbath dinner Friday night. I said, and I'm walking out. He says, I said, where are you going? He says, I'm going home. I said, well, get in the car. I'll drive you home. So about a mile, this is on the west side of the city of Chicago, Columbus Park, and Deborah Graham's ward. We take him to his home. I'm about to get out to walk from the door. He grabs my hand, and he says, I want to thank you. I said, what do you think of me? He goes, I live a blessed life because of what you've done. He became an intern in my office. He's now working, becoming a chef. He's at Gibson's. So that's the kind of things that we're doing throughout the city of Chicago and trying to expand. It's called Windy City Hoops. That very activity, and the officers are there, not just the mentors, to build trust between the public safety community and the community they have to represent. It is those shared experiences that you're going to call upon when something bad happens.
Robin, you're over there thinking. I hear you thinking.
I am thinking, Mr. Mayor, you have to realize, remember, these are tweets that we are giving you from our honor roll students here at Chicago State. The tweets are 140 characters, so you cannot give us an anecdote in your answer, okay? Deal? No story? All right, so we're going to keep, because I want to get through all six of them. They are wonderful students, and they've been working hard on this. First, Lisa.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, how do you plan to convince African Americans to vote for you when the unemployment rate in the Black community is the third highest in the nation?
Cheery, you have any question?
Mr. Mayor, it's a great education. Okay, and that's what you asked me how to do it quickly.
I like that.
Education is the key to economic success, which is why I've poured all my heart and soul into making sure from pre-K to kindergarten to full school day to community college, you have an opportunity and the trades to make the most of your life. That's as quickly as I can say it.
Okay, well, we know you're trying.
There's more than I would like to say.
I know. Darren.
Oh my God.
Hello, Mr. Mayor. My question for you is, I wonder how familiar you are with our neighborhoods in the African American communities and minority communities. And can you name two of your favorite African American restaurants on the south side and the west side of Chicago?
Trick question.
Chicken and waffles that I was at today in Brownsville and Mother Wade's restaurant on the south side.
Okay, that was nice and quick too. And now we have Jasmine.
Mr. Mayor, your current administration is made up of roughly 17 whites, 4 blacks, 3 Hispanics, and 3 Asians. 85% of which are non-Chicagoans. Moving forward, how do you plan to create an administration that reflects diversity and inclusion of everyday Chicagoans?
Well, you said, let's go through, and I'll go through my entire administration top to bottom. And I believe I have work to do every day, and I'm never settling on what I have. And I'll continue to draw on all the talents, which is why I've made also sure that all parts of the city get a chance to also work for the city.
Okay.
I'm trying to make this.
You're doing good.
Did
You're
you?
doing very well.
Yeah, I got a speed round is your, this is your strength.
No, it ain't.
May not be fun for you.
I'm a middle child. I got a lot to say.
Aside from adding more police officers, in what ways do you plan to decrease recidivism in the city?
Brandon, who's that?
Brandon, I love your question. When I became mayor, 14,000 kids had summer jobs. This year, we're going to hit 24,000 in the face of massive state and federal cuts. You want kids to be safe, you want them on the right, you want recidivism, and we started the One Summer Plus in Chicago. It was a 1,000 kids experiment. Magic Johnson just gave us $10 million.